My Bluetooth can connect to the heart's whispers of the aloof school prince. In the supermarket, he stood beside the shelf, furrowing his brows. The gummy bears are all gone, not a single pack left. How disheartening. I glanced at the last pack of gummy bears in my hand and silently returned it to the shelf. On the way home from school, a stray cat brushed against his pant leg. What a tiny creature. Why am I allergic to cat fur? I longed to stroke its head. I watched as the cat edged closer, while he took 3 reluctant steps back, stifling a laugh as I reached out to pet it for him. After numerous encounters, our next meeting occurred in the restroom. He was washing his hands, his expression cool and distant, glancing at my reflection in the mirror. Once again, I heard his inner voice. She actually followed me to the restroom. After harboring a crush on me for so long, why hasn't she confessed? I thought, when did I ever have a crush on him? I began to suspect I was haunted. How else could there be another boy's voice echoing in my headphones? The gummy bears are all gone. Not a single pack left. How disheartening. I really want to eat them. His cool, melodious voice was surprisingly pleasant. I felt as if I were seeing a ghost as I removed my headphones. That eerie male voice vanished along with them. Yet, upon putting them back on, it returned. I truly longed to eat gummy bears. This was a ghost with a penchant for gummy bears. I looked skeptically at the last pack of gummy bears I had taken from the shelf, as if it were a scalding hot potato. Could this be what attracted the ghost? The supermarket was nearly deserted. Only a tall boy stood by the shelf not far away. He wore a black short-sleeved shirt, his skin a pale white. His side profile was sharply defined, radiating an air of unapproachability. I recognized him, Rang, the top student of our school, the epitome of a school prince. His family was exceedingly wealthy. It was said that an entire teaching building had been constructed with his family's funds. Such a person seemed to have a spotlight from the heavens, drawing attention wherever he went. I hadn't anticipated encountering him here. He appeared just as aloof and unapproachable as the rumors suggested. Suppressing my surprise, I remembered he didn't know me, so I refrained from approaching him to say hello. Just as I was about to take the gummy bears and other snacks to the checkout, a voice echoed in my headphones. Wait, is she holding gummy bears? I halted, my steps oddly frozen. I glanced thoughtfully at the boy by the shelf. Indeed, he was looking my way. More precisely, he was gazing at the gummy bears in my hand. Upon noticing my turn, he instantly averted his gaze, his expression indifferent. Yet the voice in my headphones continued. The last pack of gummy bears is truly in her hands. I wish I could buy it from her. I beg her. Will she give it to me? So the one speaking in my headphones was the scholarly Jiang Rang? But he hadn't spoken a word aloud. It was as if to validate some conclusion. I removed my headphones. The enchanting voice yearning for gummy bears indeed vanished. Tentatively, I raised the pack of gummy bears, immediately feeling a searing gaze directed towards me. 2. I have come to a conclusion. My Bluetooth headphones can connect to Jiang Rang's inner thoughts. I simply cannot endure that searing gaze any longer. I counted the snacks in my hands and feigned surprise, exclaiming, "Oh dear, it seems I have purchased quite an abundance of snacks." Hastily, I returned the gummy bears to the shelf. A joyous voice emanated from my headphones. "She doesn't want the gummy bears anymore. She has put them back." Wonderful. They are mine now. They are yours, indeed. Who would have thought that the aloof academic prodigy would have a penchant for gummy bears? Just as I placed the candy back on the shelf, the boy's arm reached across me, snatching the candy away, as if fearing I might reconsider and reclaim it. I stole a glance at him. His expression remained cool and composed, revealing no hint of delight upon acquiring the treat. The scholarly figure seemed rather different from the rumors circulating about him. However, this brief interlude was soon forgotten. As an ordinary student, my school days unfolded in a tranquil yet monotonous manner. Classes, then breaks. My desk mate was keen on discussing school gossip with others. So-and-so was expelled for fighting. Another teacher was reported by parents for frequently extending class time. And the school bell's confession to Jiang Rang was met with rejection. Aside from academics, my desk mate could engage enthusiastically in any discussion. Among the myriad rumors surrounding Jiang Rang, the most prevalent was that his father is the owner of a publicly listed company, with numerous assets abroad. Jiang Rang has held the top academic position in the school since middle school. The reason for this is that he had been studying overseas until returning to the country for middle school. Jiang Rang is particularly aloof, reticent, and has a somewhat irritable disposition. Those who confess their feelings to him invariably flee in tears. Despite this, many girls remain hopelessly infatuated with him. Typically, I show little interest in such gossip, engrossed as I am in my studies. Unlike those naturally gifted students, I must invest more time to keep pace with the extraordinary talents around me. Yet this time, as they discussed, I chimed in, it seems Jiang Rang quite enjoys candy. Gummy bears, to be specific. My desk mate and the one in front of me laughed heartily. Jiang Rang likes candy? What a joke. He turned down the handmade chocolates from the school bell. He seems too cool to enjoy sweets. I silently ceased my interjection. Well, had it not been for that unexpected encounter, I would not have believed it either. I resumed my immersion in the sea of questions. 3. The next time I saw Jiang Rang was on an afternoon after school. Due to my duties, I left the school quite late. On my way home, I spotted him. Dressed in the school uniform, he radiated a refreshing and cool demeanor. His lips were pressed together as he focused on something below. I noticed a small cat nearby. The kitten ambled over to Jiang Rang's feet, attempting to nuzzle against his trousers, only to be unceremoniously evaded. It appeared that Jiang Rang did not have a fondness for cats. Suddenly, an idea struck me, and I donned my Bluetooth headphones. Sure enough, I could hear his thoughts. What a tiny creature. How can there be such an adorable being in this world? Why am I allergic to cat fur? I wish to pet it. So, he was allergic to cat fur. I watched as the kitten persistently attempted to approach him once more. The boy's reluctant evasion made me chuckle. Upon realizing I was present, he turned to look at me. Our eyes met. This was the first time I had gazed directly into Jiang Rang's eyes, scrutinizing his features. Truly, he was the epitome of excellence among the elite. His superior, sculpted bone structure, high-bridged nose, and slightly sharp contours imparted an air of coldness. The most striking aspect was undoubtedly his deep green eyes. When narrowed, they resembled a vigilant and displeased feline. My desk mate had once mentioned that Jiang Rang's mother is German, and he is of mixed heritage. Jiang Rang's thoughts echoed in my ears. Who is she? Why is she staring at me? I observed him frown, clearly deep in thought. I was not surprised. Surrounded by so many people, how could he remember me? A mere passerby from the supermarket? I recall now. She is the one who consistently makes a mistake on the third question in every exam. I have seen her twice in the office. Each time the teacher was explaining that question to her. Just as I began to feel elated that this academic genius remembered me, I heard his next words. How intrusive. I walked past him with a blank expression. I could still hear the confusion in his thoughts. She seems rather unhappy. Could it be that she made a mistake on that question again? It was clearly not difficult. I quickened my pace. Comparisons among individuals can be utterly disheartening. For, recently, I have encountered Jiang Rang with increasing frequency. Each time, I wore my headphones and overheard his inner musings. This seemingly aloof and unapproachable academic prodigy harbored a surprisingly vibrant inner world. I had never encountered such a stark contrast in someone before. At times, even with my headphones on, he could be quite bothersome. I was unwittingly acquainted with many of his habits and preferences. He relished sweets, adored strawberries, enjoyed sleeping, loved swimming and boxing, cherished fluffy things, and detested rain and thunder. He also abhorred attending classes, as he already mastered the material. I found myself in a quandary. As an ordinary individual, why must I bear witness to the tribulations of this prodigy? Removing my headphones restored peace to my world. Since I was always privy to Jiang Rang's thoughts, I often felt profoundly disheartened. Consequently, I dedicated myself to my studies with renewed fervor. Encountering numerous challenging problems, I resorted to indulging in snacks to alleviate my frustrations, leading to a bout of stomach issues. One time, while my headphones played an English listening exercise, I could no longer endure it and rushed into the restroom. Upon emerging, I felt rejuvenated, only to discover Jiang Rang washing his hands. Realizing that I had inadvertently entered the boys' restroom, Jiang Rang, with his tall and slender frame, was washing his hands. Through the mirror, he caught a glimpse of my presence. Upon meeting my gaze, he lowered his head once more. His demeanor remained calm and composed, as if he had not noticed the girl who had trespassed into the boys' restroom. My headphones relayed his thoughts. She has followed me to the restroom. She must really like me. After creating so many coincidences, why hasn't she confessed yet? Is she looking at me, preparing to confess? I feel a bit nervous. She looks as petite and adorable as a kitten. If I reject her, she will surely be heartbroken. I don't seem to mind dating her. My heart is racing. As her boyfriend, what should I do? Should I take her out to watch a movie? Does she prefer Western films or Japanese Korean ones? Both would be fine, as long as she enjoys them. I watched as he wrestled with his thoughts, eventually revealing a composed expression. My heart was a tumult of emotions. Wait. When did I begin to harbor feelings for him? Realizing the misunderstanding was escalating, I covered my face and bolted out of the restroom. The math teacher manages several classes alone. During self-study, he requested my assistance in grading assignments in the office. Jiang Rang was there as well. I felt overwhelmed, having forgotten that the math teacher also taught Jiang Rang's class. He was also helping with grading. As fellow representatives of the math class, our academic standings were worlds apart. In the presence of such a genius, I could hardly escape the feeling of being overshadowed. Furthermore, I had been seen entering the boys' restroom and was mistakenly judged. As we graded assignments, I kept my gaze steadfastly averted, pretending not to recognize him. I hoped he would also feign ignorance. When the math teacher stepped out for a moment, we were left alone in the office. The silence punctuated only by the rustle of papers and the sound of pens gliding across the paper. Without my Bluetooth headphones, I could not hear Jiang Rang's thoughts. Devoid of that vibrantly active inner voice, he appeared as a completely different person, aloof and difficult to engage. Finally, I managed to finish grading the papers, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Throughout that time, we exchanged not a single word. I realized that despite having listened to his innermost thoughts, we were, in reality, mere strangers who had never conversed. It seemed unnecessary to feel so restrained. "Do you have time after school?" A voice interrupted my thoughts. Having heard so many of his inner musings, I instinctively assumed this was yet another one of his thoughts. It took me a few seconds to recognize that Jiang Rang was actually speaking to me. "I might not have time," I replied. "What about the day after tomorrow? Is there something you need?" He said casually. "A date." I nearly lost my balance. Jiang, the academic prodigy, could he be so audacious? He seemed to realize that he had been a bit too blunt and added, "Is that all right?" without hearing his thoughts. I couldn't decipher his true feelings from his stoic demeanor. Meeting his emerald gaze left my mind in a whirl, and I repeated, "Is that all right?" He nodded and said, "Then after school the day after tomorrow, I'll wait for you." As I left, I noticed a small gummy bear he had placed in my hand, and I felt a wave of disbelief wash over me. What was this, a date? Yet we had not exchanged a single word before. We were hardly acquainted. Why did I agree? That day after school was already quite late, and we merely went out to dinner at a highly regarded hot pot restaurant. "What type of pot would you like?" the waiter inquired. Jiang Rang looked at me. "Can you handle spicy food?" I asked. "I can," he replied. It was truly chilling to be unable to hear his thoughts. His demeanor was so cold. The steam from the hot pot swirled above us, and the red broth bubbled vigorously. I enjoyed my meal thoroughly, while Jiang Rang was sweating profusely. His pale skin flushed a delicate pink, and his smooth lips, now crimson from the spice, appeared particularly enticing. I must admit, I was inadvertently struck by his beauty. Observing him struggle with the heat, I thought to myself, it couldn't be that spicy, could it? Thankfully, I had not ordered the extra spicy version, only the mild one. I handed him a glass of water, which he accepted, tears welling in his eyes from the spiciness. Who could understand the sensation of a strikingly handsome yet stoic man looking at you with tear-filled eyes? My heart raced. Suddenly, I felt the heat of the food intensifying in my mouth, causing my cheeks to flush and my throat to dry. I drank a glass of water as well. To my surprise, the next day, Jiang Rang was unwell due to our hot pot dinner. How did I know this? It was because, during the morning assembly, he did not come to the stage and another girl took his place. Later, I learned from my desk mate that Jiang Rang had switched places because he was feeling under the weather from the heat. A wave of guilt washed over me. It was I who had suggested the hot pot restaurant, and I was the one who had chosen the spicy broth. During the break after gym class, I stealthily pulled Jiang Rang aside to a secluded area. "I'm sorry, is your throat all right?" I noticed a blister by the corner of his mouth. Though it did not detract from his beauty, I still felt guilty. He looked at me quietly, not uttering a word. I feared this ambiguity of his feelings. So, I wore an earphone when I approached him. I heard his thoughts. "She's concerned for me, pulling me into this little grove. My heart races. Couples in school often rendezvous here. Will she do something with me?" So nervous, so nervous. I thought perhaps it was better not to listen. I took out a small tube of ointment and offered it to him. "Applying this will help it heal faster." He did not take it. Instead, he lowered his head, bringing his gaze level with mine. "I want you to help me apply it," he said, his voice hoarse, almost playful. I dipped a cotton swab into the ointment and gently dabbed it on the corner of his lips. "Does it hurt?" I asked. He shook his head, but I heard his thoughts. "It hurts a little." Seeing him with his downcast eyes, so nonchalant, one would never guess he was a delicate soul. I stood on my tiptoes and, unable to resist, blew gently on the corner of his mouth. He froze, and I could visibly see his ears turn crimson. So close. She smells so good. I want her to kiss me. Please kiss me, and it won't hurt anymore. I was taken aback by Jiang Rang's thoughts. I quickly shoved the ointment into his hand and fled in a panic. I was bewildered as to why my earpiece could pick up Jiang Rang's thoughts. He appeared so serious and aloof, yet within his heart, he yearned for me to kiss him. Me? Kiss him? Is this truly the Jiang Rang I once admired from afar? Upon my disoriented return to class, my desk mate, having heard some rumors, excitedly nudged me. Qian, have you heard? Jiang Rang was pulled into the grove by a girl. My expression faltered. Had someone seen us? My desk mate continued, during the gym break. A girl from the adjacent class, who had stayed behind due to a stomach ache, saw Jiang Rang being pulled into the grove, and they were kissing. I nearly toppled from my seat. Kissing? I had merely helped him apply ointment. I feigned composure. There's no way they were kissing. Jiang Rang isn't that kind of person. Yet, my mind echoed with Jiang Rang's thoughts from that moment. Kiss me, please kiss me. It seemed he indeed wished for me to kiss him. But I had run away. My desk mate sighed. I didn't believe it at first, but people in Jiang Rang's class said that when he returned to the classroom, his ears were red, and his lips looked moist. Could it be that was just the ointment? I pondered. My desk mate lamented. It's astonishing that someone as aloof as Jiang Rang could feel shy. Which girl has such power over him? I must find out who this remarkable girl is. I want to learn from her. I quietly diminished my presence. Yet, no matter how I tried to shrink my visibility, fate conspired to bring me encounters with Jiang Rang. I would invariably run into him in the hallways, on the track, in the equipment room, the office, or the water station. During meals, he would casually sit next to me. At the supermarket, I would turn around and find him walking behind me. In these unnoticed corners, he would often hand me a small gummy bear, and I would fear others would see, cautiously accepting it as if it were a clandestine exchange. This sensation resembled a secret rendezvous, yet it was tinged with a hint of romantic excitement. My earpiece was perpetually filled with his thoughts. She is so adorable today. She just glanced back at me. I knew she missed me too. I really miss her during class. Seeing her now brings me such satisfaction. She thinks of me so much. I need to be more proactive. But she seems to dislike being the center of attention, so I can only follow her discreetly. I really like her. I want to hold her. Every time we brushed past each other, Jiang Rang remained expressionless. Yet his heart was fervently declaring his affection. Each time, I was compelled to remove my earpiece. I had attempted to explain my previous actions to him, but claiming to hear his thoughts was simply too preposterous. He would never believe it. I could only find other excuses, but they proved futile. He was convinced I was secretly in love with him, which was why I frequently appeared before him, and that I was aware of his likes and habits. I found myself in an inescapable predicament. Pretending to be a stranger was utterly impossible. However, this unexpected twist also brought me more than just trouble. Each time I encountered Jiang Rang at a corner after school, I would humbly seek his guidance on problems I struggled with, including questions I frequently got wrong on exams. Jiang Rang's logical thinking was remarkably clear, and he spoke at a measured pace. It bestows upon me a plethora of new perspectives, as even the most perplexing problems, which elude my comprehension when articulated by the teacher, become clear to me after his explanation. I find myself capable of drawing inferences thereafter. Such is the prowess of an academic prodigy. Increasingly, I perceive myself as an ordinary individual standing beside a genius like Jiang Rang, feeling distinctly mundane. He has already secured a place in the nation as foremost university, and the chasm between us is destined to widen inexorably. How could we possibly be together? As school concluded this day, Jiang Rang inquired, "Would you like to come to my house this weekend? I have several copies of the book you mentioned last time." I constantly remind myself of the disparity between us and shook my head, saying, "I have to do my homework." "Come over to my house to do your homework. I can help you," he urged. I could sense his earnest thoughts. It's so difficult not seeing her this weekend. The house is empty when I return, which makes me sad. I feel better only when I think of her. "Please say yes, I beg you." I found it impossible to utter a refusal. "All right then." Upon hearing my agreement, his eyes crinkled with delight, the coldness in his gaze melting away like snow on a mountain under the warm sun. Jiang Rang's home was indeed vast, a standalone villa. His parents were often away due to work, and the cleaners left shortly after tidying up. The spacious villa was occupied solely by Jiang Rang, rendering it rather desolate. Upon entering, I noticed fruit had already been laid out for my arrival. He was dressed in casual home attire, exuding an air of languor devoid of his usual aloofness. Seeing me, he naturally took my hand and led me inside. With one ear adorned by headphones, I heard his thoughts. Just act natural, holding her hand. I mustn't be nervous. She must not notice. Her hand is so soft. I want to squeeze it. Would a gentle squeeze go unnoticed? I'll just squeeze it once. I felt a light pinch at my fingertips, cautious as if fearful of detection. Strangely, I found his timid demeanor endearingly charming. I too squeezed his hand slightly. He paused for a moment before confidently resuming our walk. His study was larger than my bedroom, with a substantial desk, while doing homework side by side. I turned to find him deeply focused on his exam paper. Yet, with one ear still covered by headphones, I caught his thoughts. She's so serious while doing homework. She's been on the 6th question for 3 minutes. Does she not understand it? It seems quite simple. Should I proactively explain it to her? But would that reveal how closely I'm watching her? How frustrating. I want to hold her hand, guiding her through the problems. Unable to contain myself, I asked him about the question. He responded normally, explaining it to me. During this, his fingers brushed against mine accidentally, which I initially overlooked. However, after the 4th unintentional touch, I could no longer remain silent.
Jianrang.
I called out his name. He looked at me with an innocent expression. What's wrong? Were I not privy to his thoughts, I might have been deceived by his seriousness. Despite the minor interruptions, the presence of an academic genius beside me allowed us to complete the homework surprisingly swiftly. Once finished, we exchanged gazes. I declared, I'm done with my homework. I'm heading home. He pursed his lips. Would you like to watch a movie? His thoughts echoed. Don't go, don't go. It's only been a little while. Stay with me. I don't want her to leave, sob. What can I do to make her stay a little longer? If she leaves, I'll be alone again. I found myself unable to turn him down. Then let us watch a movie. His eyes brightened instantly. Seated before the television, we selected a film, ultimately choosing one with a refreshing cover. We settled on the sofa, a cushion initially between us, though it soon vanished. My fingers were soon covered by another hand. Watching him engrossed in the film, his expression unchanging yet fidgeting, I felt an urge to laugh. Half an hour into the movie, the plot and sound effects took a sinister turn. It dawned on me that what appeared to be a refreshing film was, in fact, a terrifying horror flick. As the music grew increasingly eerie, the air in the room turned cold. I watched in horror as the characters met their demise in various gruesome ways, tensing up in fear, only to realize Jiang Rang had enveloped me in his embrace. Don't be afraid, he murmured, his voice deep and oddly comforting. Had I not heard his thoughts? This is so frightening. She must be even more terrified. I need to protect her. Why do the ghosts keep showing their faces? This is scaring both of us. I finally succumbed to laughter, pressing his head against my shoulder. I patted his back, reassuring him, there's nothing to fear. He softly replied, I'm not scared. His thoughts revealed. Did she notice? I just shivered. Will she think I'm a coward? How embarrassing. Observing Jiang Rang curl into himself, I found him irresistibly adorable. His contrast was striking. Those unfamiliar with him might perceive him as aloof and unapproachable. Who would ever guess he loved cats, enjoyed sweets over spicy food, and was terrified of horror films? I never imagined I would one day be protecting the seemingly unapproachable campus heartthrob who trembled at horror films, someone I could only admire from afar in the past. And now I listened to Jiang Rang's thoughts. Being protected by her is so blissful. I'm no longer afraid. Don't let go. Just hold me like this forever. I'm so happy, so happy. I want to be with her for a lifetime. Clad in a sweater, he felt so soft and cuddly, like a comforting little cat. Whenever I loosened my grip, he would gently place my hand back in position with his paw. I couldn't resist gazing at him, discovering a stray thread tangled in his hair. Intent on helping him remove it, he mistook my gesture as a signal to release him. Looking up in surprise, unintentionally, I pressed a kiss to his forehead. Time seemed to freeze. His body stiffened, and I heard his heart race. Oh my gosh. She kissed me. I knew she wanted to kiss me. She was just too shy to do it. I love her so much. I remained frozen in place. Enough, Jiang Rang. Stop overthinking. As the eve of the sports meet approached, I heard, Qian. Are you planning to participate in the sports meet? My mind was elsewhere as I filled out a form. The sports committee member glanced at it. Excitement in his voice. You're signing up for the girls' 2,000-meter run? How splendid. No one has ever signed up for it, and you're the first. I suddenly realized I had checked the wrong box. I had meant to select the girls' 800 meters, yet I had inadvertently signed up for the 2,000 meters. Completing that would feel like running half a marathon. Seeing my desire to amend my choice, the sports committee member hastily took the form back. Once selected, you cannot backtrack. I look forward to you bringing glory to our class. Winning or losing doesn't matter. Participation is what counts. I felt a pang of regret. I was someone who needed a long recovery even after running 800 meters. My desk mate approached. I heard Jiang Rang signed up for the competition too. I asked, for the boys, 3,000 meters? She replied, who would choose such a grueling event? He signed up for shooting. He has been training since childhood with a national team coach. He must be incredibly skilled at it. I was astonished the school even has a shooting event. She remarked, you've been so focused on your studies every year. How could you be aware of such things? By the way, what did you sign up for? I replied, the girls' 2,000 meters. She raised her thumb. Impressive. On the day of the sports meet, the school was bustling with excitement. I watched Jiang Rang's shooting competition throughout the event. On the field, he stood tall, his shooting stance impeccable. With unwavering precision, he struck the target without a single error, eliciting a chorus of screams from the girls in the stands. My ears buzzed. Jiang the academic god is so handsome. How can he be so perfect? He just shot straight through my heart. Did he just look our way? Ah. Is he looking at me? No, he is looking at me. His eyes are so beautiful, a mesmerizing emerald green. Oh my, I think I'm falling for him. Below them, I sat in silence. Soon it was my turn. The 2,000-meter long distance run sounded daunting, and indeed, it was. By the time I reached 1,500 meters, my consciousness began to fade, and I relied solely on my body's instinct to push forward. Many competitors stopped midway, forfeiting the race. Yet I persisted. It is my principle. Once I commence, I cannot abandon my efforts. Studying is no different. My mind may not be the quickest, and in comparison to those naturally gifted, I must depend on perseverance and determination. The teacher who once scolded me for being slow-witted in elementary school was countered by my tenacity, which enabled me to gain admission to this prestigious high school. At last, I crossed the finish line. I was utterly exhausted. When I regained consciousness, I found myself in the infirmary, with Jiang Rang by my side, his eyes slightly reddened. Upon noticing I was awake, he hurriedly poured me a glass of water. I took a sip, and the fiery pain in my throat had diminished significantly. He asked in confusion, why push yourself so hard? You could have stopped midway. Seeing his worried expression, I couldn't help but pinch his cheek gently as he leaned closer. I'm fine. I just felt that once I entered the competition, I had to see it through to the very end. His face was soft, yielding to my touch. The concern in his eyes gradually transformed into gentle indulgence. He softly said, you came in second, congratulations. I felt content with my hard-fought result. Thank you. I watched your shooting competition as well, and congratulations on securing first place. If you're interested, I can teach you when I have time. Sounds great, it's a deal. Indeed. We locked eyes for a moment, both feeling a bit awkward before turning away, sharing a laugh in unison. This time, I couldn't hear his thoughts through my headphones, yet I could sense his emotions. We were both elated for each other's achievements. I cherished this feeling of walking side by side. Later, I learned from my desk mate that after I fainted, it was Jiang Rang who carried me to the infirmary. He was still on stage receiving his award when he saw me collapse, and he sprinted over, lifting me in his arms and rushing to the infirmary. My desk mate exclaimed, you don't know how terrifying Jiang the academic god looked at that moment. No one dared to stop him as he carried you to the infirmary. He even stayed by your side until you woke up. The principal came to check on you. Qian, are you really secretly dating Jiang the academic god? Turns out that impressive girl has been right next to me all along. Quick, tell me how you won him over. You must have pursued him, right? Jiang the academic god, doesn't he seem like the type to chase after girls? Every day, I was bombarded with my desk mate's inquisitive questions. Would anyone believe me if I said I was the passive one in this scenario? Due to the sports meet, my previously unnoticed existence was suddenly thrust into the spotlight among my classmates. Many students, out of curiosity, would gather at the classroom door to sneak glances at me. After a few looks, they would scoff. Is that her? She seems quite ordinary. How could Jiang the academic god possibly like someone like her? Exactly. Jiang Rang is an academic prodigy. He should at least prefer someone with a similar intellect, or a school beauty, someone who possesses at least one trait that stands out. I refuse to believe Jiang the academic god likes her. She must have used some underhanded tactics. Her grades have been improving lately. Perhaps she has been copying. The whispers grew increasingly outrageous. My desk mate could no longer tolerate it and stood up to retort on my behalf. I stopped her. Let me handle this. I walked directly in front of those individuals. Do you really think that by saying these things, you make yourself seem special? Superior? Instead of wasting time on petty gossip, why not strive for what you want? Do you truly believe that by airing your dirty laundry, your hearts will be cleansed? My achievements are my own. I have nothing to feel guilty about. Yes, Jiang Rang has helped me with tutoring, but if you want assistance, go ask him. Is it honorable to resort to underhanded tactics and verbal attacks simply because you lack the courage to approach him? Those individuals were rendered speechless, taken aback by my unyielding confrontation. One girl stepped forward. Why would Jiang the academic god like you? I placed my hands on my hips, refusing to back down. Is it because I'm bold enough to stand my ground? If you're capable, step up. The girl was furious yet too intimidated to speak. You're just making a fuss. Why are you so aggressive? I burst into laughter. You start the criticism, and I can't retort? Let me tell you, even if Jiang Rang were here, I would speak just as fiercely. You're not fierce at all. A familiar voice rang out behind me, causing me to turn in surprise. I realized Jiang Rang had been standing behind me without my notice. Had he seen my earlier display? I had hoped to maintain a semblance of dignity in front of him. He approached my side and looked at the girl. I have already rejected your confession 3 times. Please refrain from disturbing me and those who are important to me. The girl, embarrassed and indignant, with tears in her eyes, retorted, but why her? She doesn't deserve you. For the first time, a chill flickered in Jiang Rang's gaze. Previously, his coldness had been one of aloofness. But now, genuine anger was evident. He stared at the girl, enunciating every word. And you, what gives you the right? The girl, finally struck down, wiped her tears and fled. Jiang Rang turned around, his icy demeanor vanishing. He approached me obediently, and noticing my silence, he cautiously began, I'm sorry. It's my fault that you've been troubled. Please don't be angry. I wasn't angry. I was still processing everything. When that girl asked, why her? I heard Jiang Rang's heart speak. Because she is adorable, strong, brave, kind, and earnest. She is the best girl in the world. No one is allowed to speak ill of her. I like her so much. Is she as unhappy? I am even more distraught. Who are you to say anything about her? That is just cruel. I was truly charmed by this contradictory Jiang the academic god before me. I stated earnestly, Jiang Rang, I want to attend the same university as you. He paused, his eyes shining with an extraordinary brightness. I heard his thoughts. She wants to attend the same university as me. How could she like me so much? I feel so happy, I might faint. I want to hug her, to kiss her. I quickly interrupted his train of thought. I know you've already secured a spot at the university, and I still have a long way to go to reach that top institution, but I will work hard. Jiang Rang, I will definitely walk by your side, advancing together. I plunged into a rigorous academic routine. The university was among the most prestigious in the nation, and my scores were still far from the admission threshold. I studied day and night. During the day, I attentively listened to lectures, jotting down questions I couldn't grasp, which I would later ask Jiang Rang to explain again. Aware of my determination, he would meticulously compile tricky problems and mistakes, helping me strategize my study efforts. My grades steadily improved, yet there remained a significant gap between me and the university. The constant studying had taken a toll on my health, and I had lost a considerable amount of weight. My desk mate expressed her concern. Don't stress yourself too much. Just do your best. The university's admission scores are indeed quite high. Our school only admits a handful each year. I shook my head. I want to give it my all. I am acutely aware that an insurmountable chasm lies between Jiang Rang and myself, with university merely being one aspect of it. If I cannot muster the courage to fight for this, then even if we were to be together in the future, complications would surely arise. I have never subscribed to the notion that a young maiden can simply bask in the fruits of her labor and be chosen by a prince. It is imperative that she shines brightly, drawing the prince's attention. She must be capable of walking alongside him, shoulder to shoulder, as the Gaokao approaches. I was taken aback when Jiang Rang's father unexpectedly reached out to me, requesting a meeting. Jiang Rang has inherited the striking features of Jiang Zhenghua, possessing the same deep, defined facial structure, yet he appears more mature and worldly. I felt a twinge of apprehension. Jiang Zhenghua produced a check and, in a leisurely manner, stated, "This is 5 million. The absurdity of such a melodramatic scenario unfolding in my life was overwhelming. Had my efforts during this period truly been insufficient to bridge the gap between Jiang Rang and me? A sense of sadness washed over me as I instinctively opened my mouth to refuse. Jiang Zhengguo continued, after the Gaokao. Why not take Jiang Rang out for some fun? Before I could articulate my defiance, I found myself momentarily speechless. What? The powerful mogul of the business world offered a smile, diminishing the oppressive atmosphere slightly. Did I frighten you just now? My apologies. Perhaps I do appear rather serious when I am not smiling. I replied. Aren't you trying to use this 5 million to separate me from your son? He chuckled. Dear child, you should watch fewer melodramatic television shows. My purpose in reaching out to you is to ensure that you do not feel anxious about the Gaokao. Even if you do not gain admission to Jiang Rang's university, it is not a cause for concern. The nearby university is also quite prestigious. However, its exorbitant tuition often deters many. With your current grades, gaining admission there is entirely feasible, and I will cover all your university expenses. This display of generosity left me momentarily speechless. So, Jiang Rang's father was not attempting to pull us apart, but rather to foster our relationship? Are you serious? I inquired. He spoke with utmost politeness, indeed. I owe you my gratitude. Jiang Rang's mother passed away early, and I have been preoccupied with my business, unable to provide him with constant care. He once suffered from autism. Although he has since recovered, it has still impacted his ability to connect with the outside world. It is because of you that I have begun to see the vibrant spirit he once had. I was taken aback to learn of Jiang Rang's past. After some reflection, I said, Uncle, thank you. However, I wish to try my best. I want to aim for the university. Jiang Zhengguo opened his mouth to speak, but seemed to reconsider, ultimately chuckling with resignation. No wonder Jiang Rang values you so highly. You truly are an admirable young lady. Before I departed, he insisted on pressing the check into my hand, saying, in my lifetime, I have seldom asked anything of others. Jiang Rang has not smiled in a long time, and I implore you to take good care of him. This paternal concern made me feel somewhat embarrassed. After the Gaokao, I remained anxious until the results were announced. Upon learning that I had been accepted into the university, I felt an immense sense of relief. I had proven that I could stand by Jiang Rang through sheer determination. Jiang Rang was even more elated than I was. The next day, Jiang Zhengguo booked our flight tickets. We ventured forth to explore various destinations. During our travels, we encountered countless breathtaking sights, many of which I had never experienced outside the pages of a book. Jiang Rang held my hand as we climbed mountains, strolled through meadows, and collected seashells by the shore. The cold detachment I had first perceived in him had melted away, revealing a gentler, more relaxed demeanor. Yet, that singular tenderness and affection were reserved solely for me. It had been a long time since I had listened to his heart through headphones. For now, a mere glance sufficed to convey our feelings. Beneath a sky adorned with countless stars, we shared a kiss. He confided, I have re-entered this world because of you. You are the sun in my life, and I cannot bear the thought of losing you. I embraced him, replying, Do you not realize that you are also my son? I gaze up at you in awe, and because of that admiration, I chase after you. In this moment, I embrace the sun, and together, we shone brilliantly. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, please remember to like and subscribe. Until our next story, farewell.